Time for the business news now. Now, I need to warn people, 2101 on the text, because Nicholas is about to say something which I know you're all going to want to give us feedback on. It's about telcos and the price you pay for your mobile plan or your broadband plan. And telcos are saying, are they, Nicholas, that we're all getting great deals?
Yeah, and they're saying this because they're maybe hinting that we should probably be paying more. And I'm sure that may come as a surprise to a lot of our listeners, but it's part of the findings of this report that the Telecommunications Forum put out today. So that's the body that represents the telcos. It's their industry organisation. They've put out this report today. It's the first one in 3 years, and it's sort of a stock take of the industry, where it's at. And while a good chunk of it focuses on the fact that while we were in lockdown, we spent a lot of time online and broadband was great, it kept us all connected, there was a line about the prices consumers are paying. And it says New Zealanders have benefited from a significant fall in costs despite our appetite for data increasing year on year. And this comes while other utilities such as power, gas bills, even the council rates that we're paying have increased. And here's the kicker. The telcos say that the current economics of the industry means it will struggle to keep investing at the rates needed to improve infrastructure and meet future demands.
What? Are they warning us that we're going to have to pay more if we want more data and better access?
Yes, but the thing is New Zealanders are using a lot of data. I think about 5 years ago, the average the connection, people were using about 32 gigs per month. Now we're at 208. So that's a huge jump. I think it's by 45. Oh, well, actually, no, I'm not going to do the math on here. But
someone can do the math for us.
Yeah, they can text in and tell us. But that's a huge amount, right? And so they're saying that the infrastructure network constantly needs to be upgraded to service this demand because it's only going to increase. More people are spending time at home. More people are working from home. We're streaming more. There's a variety of reasons. But the TCF, that's the Telecommunications Forum, they also held a webinar this morning. And it featured some of the big dogs in the industry. You had the CEO of Vodafone, the CEO of Spark, CEO of Chorus, and a senior executive from 2 Degrees. And I actually put this question to them. I asked, well, if these costs are going to increase, what should actually happen? And the CEO of Vodafone, he made some interesting comments. He says during lockdown, the industry solidified its position as an essential service. And going forward, the industry should be looking to get more value for the services it provides. He says the current economics is out of whack and consumer expectations need to be reset if they're going to fund the necessary development going forward. And he uses this example. He says people were happy to go into a Vodafone store and spend $2,000 on an iPhone, but then they complain about the $20 a month they might have to spend on a plan. And then Matthew Bolland, he is a senior executive with 2 Degrees, and he says telcos were adding exponential value to businesses. He says their services keeps businesses running and growing for the cost of about $40 a month. So look, there are some really interesting comments to come out of the telcos here. I'd be interested to hear what texters and what people have to say.
Because they would say that, wouldn't they, Nicholas? So just to remind people, 2101, or you can tweet us at Checkpoint RNZ. Do you think that you're getting a really cheap deal with your mobile phone and you should be paying more for what you're getting?
Or maybe the other question is, would you be prepared to pay more going forward? But I think, with this messaging, there was nothing firmly set in stone here. This was just speculation, but it's interesting speculation, and I think it's going to be pretty interesting to keep an eye on going forward.
Sounds like we're being warmed up for some price changes.
Maybe some lobbying as well.
Yeah, okay. Let's look at your next story, which is the government looking at developing a consumer data right. What does that even mean?
So data rights give people the legal right to access and share the info that agencies or banks keep on them. At the moment, it's voluntary. If you go to your bank, you ask them for the data they have on you, it's up to them to decide if they want to hand it over. And last year, Chris Farfoy, in his capacity as Consumer Affairs Minister, he says, the banks need to step up and they need to do more. Well, today, the government has now signalled that it's willing to step in and actually maybe introduce legislation which would make this mandatory if you ever want to request your info. And this would be huge because it would give people a lot more control over their data, but with more control becomes more freedom. Because I was thinking about this today, just think how much data your bank has on you. They can see how much you spend. They can see what you spend your money on. They can see at what time of the month you're spending your money. Maybe you're spending a lot of money
And
on
what
the
are they
weekend.
using that for as well? I'm curious about that. How are they using it?
Yeah, how are they using it? And there's also, they can see when you get paid. So they have a very accurate picture of you and I as financial entities. And if there was a data right, you could access that info and use it at your own discretion. You might wonder, well, what do you want to use that for? Well, I think like an example, a pretty straightforward example, is that there is a lot of online tools from fintech companies that give you financial advice. The days of going to see a financial advisor are over. But it's really hard if you wanted to use these tools. It's quite hard if you don't actually have all that data in data form. Well, a data right would allow you to extract that data from your bank, take it to one of these online tools, and then they could give you, for probably what is going to be quite a competitive price, a pretty sound picture of maybe the ways that you can begin to manage your money. So you've just got to think about this. It's creating a lot more options for people, and there's various ways you might want to use your data. It could be an insurance policy or something like that. But of course, with anything like this, handing over your data to a third party sounds pretty scary, right? So the discussion document that the government released today acknowledges that if this were to go ahead, there would have to be some more work to really look at privacy policy and really shore up that people's data is shared. If people are going to be not shared, people's data is going to be locked up and kept tight if they are going to be sharing it around more.
Yeah, okay. Well, you said they've released that today, so I'm imagining it's online. If people want to fill their boots, they can have a read. What has been going on the markets today too?
NZX Top 50 is relatively unchanged, is up by 7 points to 11,764. The New Zealand dollar is steady at 66.4 US cents, down a touch to 92.2 Australian, and down to 50.6 British pence. And would you guess, gold is up again by 0.25% to $2,044 an ounce.
Thanks, Nicholas. That's Nicholas Poynton with our gold report and all the other business news that you need to know.